concept for Ghostly International was to provide a record label out of the U.S. that provided top-notch music and compelling visual arts together, and focusing a lot on American artists and try to bring them to exposure internationally.
My name is Jeff Owens, and I'm label manager at Ghostly International. My role tends to be physical and digital distribution.
Ghostly started as just a passion project. We did one record, it was me, Matthew Deere, and Disco D. We did this record called Hands Up for Detroit. And we were just hanging out one summer and making music together and having fun. We have a crew of in-house designers who created the Boy Cat Bird characters, which has become our mascots, and they're in a video for Ghostly Swim.
Then this is where our stock, vinyl, CDs, extra back stock. This is where we fulfill the orders for the Ghostly store.
We have artists such as Matthew Deere, Kill Memory Crash, Tycho, Luzine, Solvent. All over the world, we've amassed this great crew of artists that represent sort of new sound. Kate Simko is a new artist we signed to Spectral from Chicago. We followed her for a little while in some of her own releases, and finally have made our first release together.
Hi, I'm Kate Simko, and I record on Spectral Sound, which is a sub-label of Ghostly. It's their dance label. I'm playing tonight at Bert's on Broadway, which is a non-traditional venue, from what I understand. For me, when I'm looking at the music that I'm making and what I want to do, I'm not looking at gender, and I'm just trying to take the different influences that I have from my background and improve on what I have done in the past, and try to work on developing my own sound into something that's unique and making music that I want to hear, that doesn't exist yet. I started playing piano when I was 5, and I took it quite seriously. I actually studied classical piano at the university level at Northwestern, and then I started switching gears because I felt more passionate about electronic music. That's the music I was listening to more than classical. When I make tracks, I definitely try to take my knowledge of music theory and music and incorporate that into the electronic music I'm doing. In my opinion, there's never been a larger divide between what's popular in Europe and what's popular in the United States. And I'd like to see electronic music in the United States coming more to the forefront. And personally, I think that the way that will happen is if large festivals like Coachella and South by Southwest start showcasing electronic music, not as something that's on the side, on like a side tent, but more towards the forefront.
We just released a new album by Todd Osborne. He goes by his last name, Osborne, and it's a really great throwback to classic sounds, Detroit, techno, and kind of synthesizing all these influences into one unique new thing.
My name is Todd Osborne. I live in Ypsilanti, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. I make music for Ghostly International / Spectral. It's Osborne with an E. When I'm starting out, I usually, like I say, use tones, make chords out of them, and then once I have a progression, figure out what speed I want it to be at, and it turns into whatever song it's gonna be from there. I think most people ask me, it's just about the software, what are you using to get this sound? And I don't think it matters at all. Just use whatever, just pick anything at all and just learn the heck out of it. And I think every program can make everything. Pretty much, I don't think you need a certain program to get a certain sound or even a certain synth. It's good to be limited sometimes and not just have everything at your disposal and keep downloading music programs and not ever learning one all the way through, and just pick anything and just, even if it has limits, just figure out how to work around it.
As somebody who is a visual artist and a musician, I don't see that they really drive each other. I think they inform each other in a lot of ways. When I was first making music, I needed graphics to represent the music. And then when I was first making graphics, whenever I make visual work, I always feel like there's kind of a soundtrack that that should be there. So they kind of work off of each other, I think. My name's Scott Hansen. I'm an artist and musician. I'm out of San Francisco. I go by ISO 50 for my visual work and Tycho for my music. I think shoegaze and shoegaze electronica, the kind of offshoot of that, they definitely influence me. But more so, I think that the things, the early ambient stuff like Brian Eno and stuff, I think that influenced them. I think that also had a big part in influencing me. The style that I'm pursuing, which is kind of this ambient, down-tempo type thing, I think it ebbs and flows, and I've seen it have its high points and its kind of points when it didn't seem like many people were doing it. But as far as where it's headed, I mean, I just feel like right now what I see is like indie rock and all that sort of stuff merging with electronica in a lot of ways. Like you see a lot of indie bands are starting to use synthesizers, and then you see a lot of electronic musicians are starting to use guitars and traditional instrumentation.